Thank you, everybody. Nice to be here. Thanks for asking me back. Can I just acknowledge Rob Chapman and the sensational history he just gave, and also for his role in this week for South Australian football. When you look at it, this week is a line in the sand type of week. Yes, the air does seem a little cleaner today as an independent club, let me tell you. Yes, Adelaide Oval is a game changer on so many levels, but Rob has been there right from the very start. I'm a newbie to South Australian football politics. Mate, I tip my hat at you. You've just done a sensational job getting us to where we are as a code and as an industry. So if I can be half as good a chairman as you are, President, I'll be very happy. Can I also acknowledge Jamie Restis, who was Port Adelaide Director and the man that got landed with all of those licensed Adelaide Oval agreements on Monday morning and was told, we've got to approve these by Wednesday or else. So Jamie leads our governance committee. So Jamie, thank you very much for heroic effort this week. Just sensational. And would be the same with the Crows governance committee as well. You know, that's what makes clubs tick. The passion and the skill and the knowledge of people. Tomorrow it is going to be into an outstanding week. Just think about it, the reuniting of the community of South Australia, the football community at Adelaide Oval, the reuniting of Saka and Sandford, Port Adelaide and the Crows moving into sensational home ground. It is a world-class stadium. You've all been to the cricket there and seen it. If not, and tomorrow's going to be your first taste, you are going to be blown away. Rob gave you a bit of the history. I can just remember the mood at the time that this was all proposed, the backlash from some sections of footy supporters, the uncertainty, the doomsayers preaching that it could never be done, the panic amongst the traditionalists, no, we can't let it happen. Well, it was pretty extraordinary that it has come to this, and civility has prevailed and rationality. So the big question that I want to give you a bit of an insight today, because I think it's important for us as the smaller club in South Australia, and one that's rebuilding our foundations and our future, to almost report back to you on some of the themes that I spoke about last year at the Press Club, whether we've delivered or not, because we've still got to prove ourselves on so many levels as a club, I think, and what Adelaide Oval means to us as a club, because no, we couldn't afford to stay quiet with all of these changes. For us, Adelaide Oval and moving to Adelaide Oval was do or die, to be absolutely frank. Before returning to Adelaide Oval, it will underpin our club's future. And under the old financial model at Amy Stadium, we were bleeding dry. This Port Adelaide's great club existence would have been under serious threat. That model was simply not sustainable for us as a club to grow and be competitive as a football club, both on and off the field. And without doubt, our future was pretty bleak at Westlakes. Under this new model, we're predicting a $3.9 million uplift. Based on extra signage, and Adelaide Oval gives us a great ability to go and woo new sponsors. Renault and Energy Australia coming on board as major partners. They looked at a whole range of things, but Adelaide being a showpiece was so critical for them coming on side as well. The things that we're able to do in Rundle Mall, where the march from the mall, what it's going to do to the Rundle Mall Authority and the retailers there. KFC have come on board with a pre-match kicking for chicken. And it's going to be right up there on the dietary scale. Pre-match, being at Adelaide Oval was really important for them. Our current corporate revenue is currently 55% up on last year's actual finish. So where we are today is 55% up in terms of corporate revenue for the whole of last season. Our end goal is to well and truly double that. Tomorrow, for the first time in a long time, all our corporate boxes are filled for a showdown, and there's great demand for the rest of the season. If anyone's interested, come and see me after. We've got plenty of great corporate boxes for the rest of the year. Our premium offering at Adelaide Oval, which is our one, like our suite one at AAMI Stadium, is already sold out for the majority of our games. So the financial uplift, of course, helped by our on-crew performance and our on-field culture, has certainly played a huge part in that. And talking about our supporters and membership growth, let me give you just a snapshot of where we are there in terms of going forward. You may not agree, but our members had a real problem with going to AAMI Stadium. And this is just from our research, whether you agree or not. Certainly the Crow's shed as a shadow over it didn't help. Whether you agree with that or not, it's just a reality from our research of members. It was far away, the facilities weren't world class. So in reality, back in 2009, our members were saying that, hey, to succeed, you've got to move. And by moving and listening to them, it's taken a long while for that listening to become a reality, they've responded. And they've responded to the point that today we sit with just over 49,000 members as a club. We finished at 41,500 last season. That was a record for us. We're at 49. 27,000 of those are, as we all know in footy economics, I'll be a finance nerd for a short time, those 11 game reserve seats are just really critical to the financial model of any club. We're at 27,000. By comparison, last year was 15,900. It's a 70% increase in that really high value customer that you're trying to get to the footy. Back in 2012, it was just 13,600. So to be around 27, we're hoping that we can get to 29 or 30 this year, is a real shot in the arm for us. So, from a membership point of view and a club point of view, a customer point of view, they've said, wow, you're going to a new stadium, we love it. And the Crows would be having a similar uplift, but we've got more seats to fill. We had a bigger gap coming into this year. So, our board at the time said, get our club back together as one, and the reunification of the Magpies and the Power, we've ticked that box. Improve our footy performance, we've ticked that. Still a long way to go in that area. We're still the third youngest club in the competition, but we've got a future. We can see we've got a dream that we're all working towards. And the third part was to return footy to a world-class Adelaide Oval, and we ticked that box. As a result, nearly 50,000 members, 27,000, 11 gamers. So what does it mean? It means that we get a guaranteed 30 or 40,000 for every home game at the stadium, which is terrific. The Live at the Drive concerts. Brings an extra element to Adelaide Oval. That's a new initiative for us. The March from the Mall is a new initiative. So it allows us, I think this time last year I was saying, because we're a challenger brand in this market and a challenger club, we've got to be a bunch of goals. We've got to think outside the square. And that's what we've been trying to do, and Adelaide Oval gives us a chance to do that. And it keeps the Adelaide Oval feel. Like, I love the fact that it still has a hill, that you see the old scoreboard, you see through to the cathedral, you see up to Colonel Light. It's a world-class stadium, but it's still very much Adelaide, and people know that. It's going to be a great reflection of this state. Andrew Demetriou, who's never one to exaggerate, described Adelaide Oval as the eighth wonder of the world. So according to Andrew, it's bigger than the pyramids, and who can disagree with him? Adelaide Oval also builds on a number of key pillars. I think this time last year I spoke about the 6 pillars that we're trying to rebuild the club on. Ensure we're an employer of choice. reinforce our core values and culture, particularly around issues of integrity, attract and retain good staff, expert staff, take our brand national because we play on a national footy stage, reinforce and maintain our community links because that's the DNA of our club, that is what we're all about. Have a team that plays an attractive, exciting brand of football and never ever gives up, and I think we proved that. Always have an eye into the future and consolidate the commercial side of it. So it is where Adelaide Oval has helped every one of those pillars to be an employer of choice, to have those young players re-sign early for us, who could, particularly Ollie Wines, for example, who could have gone anywhere, is a huge testament to not only our football program, but also the excitement the players have about playing at Adelaide Oval. It's like the home teams at the MCG love it there because there's a sense of occasion. It's a great stage to play on. Having Adelaide Oval as your home game helps you become an employer of choice, along with all those other elements, culture and integrity and the whole lot. So our thanks to those players for acknowledging that and their commitment to our club as we go future. Everyone's on board, we all have a plan and we're all determined to stick together. Like Rob, you've got to acknowledge the people that had the foresight for this, Mike Rand, Kevin Foley, Andrew, Ian McLaughlin, and I think it's important also to acknowledge from the Port Adelaide Football Club, Brett Duncanson and Mark Haseman. These guys were in the trenches, actually fighting for this right from the very start. They knew that we had to change. They knew that for the good of Port Adelaide Football Club, we had to go to Adelaide Oval. They had to be loud because our future depended on it. We couldn't be quiet about it. They dealt with leaders of politics and the SANFL and the AFL and pushed it through. I feel a little guilty standing here because the club today and the board I look after is really benefiting from the enormous vision and hard work of those board members in the past at Port Adelaide, and I really think it must be acknowledged because it's been a long time coming and people forget how it started and the heroes of that time to get it through. As of today, though, it is about South Australia and acknowledging South Australia. South Australia we're going to be a huge beneficiary of this. South Australia is going to be a massive beneficiary. As I've kept saying all week in the media interviews, if you live in Victoria and you've got a Victorian team, they play in Adelaide, come across because you'll be able to watch your team play in a great stadium and enjoy a terrific state. So the economic side of it, I don't think you can underestimate it either. So thank you for having me. Delighted to answer your questions and looking forward to a terrific game tomorrow.